Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. It's Mercer here, and just giving you guys an update. What's going on? What's been happening these past few months? I haven't really posted a lot on my YouTube channel, so a lot has happened. Recently, this past April, I have been pretty much just grinding out my book edits, going through, trying to catch repetition, overuse, words that I keep just going over and over the top with. Maybe a metaphor I'm not a big fan of in some areas, or some similes, doing stuff like that. That's pretty much what I've been going through, just really doing a strong edit, clearing things out, or repeating the same emotional beat. That was something I really struggled with. I kept repeating myself. I like to repeat myself a lot, if you aren't already aware, but whenever I talk to people in person, I do that in person, and you can see that in my book. But there's been a lot going on. I had a lot pretty much happen, and it was unfortunate at one point. So my map artist, I've been working with him, and everything's been going smoothly. And I was working with another artist for my cover, and I think there was just a bad communication. I wasn't as clear on some things, and I think he underestimated the job, and he wasn't prepared for it. And so we had to just cut ties and be like, hey, he got really busy and he just couldn't work on the project. Great guy. I mean, I wish him the best. He's a very good artist, but our paths just weren't aligning. And, it was kind of like last second. So it was best to just shut that project down and start over. And that was the scary part, because I had to find a whole new artist for the front cover of my book and the back cover as well. So a full wraparound cover for the book, including some interior things I wanted to do. So that whole situation was really, really difficult, and it made my life hard, because it's like, oh no, last second I'm like, I have to find a new artist. This is terrible. And so I reached out to, a bunch of artists to see who would respond. I had one artist that responded right away, actually. All the other artists took, a week and a half to 2 weeks just to get back to me. And so that was kind of an issue. And I didn't really have time. I had to really go with someone. And I wasn't basing off price. I mean, obviously price is a factor when doing books, but I was just trying to find an artist who's really talented, very good. I understand this stuff isn't cheap, but I needed a good artist. I didn't want to just go with a cheap artist for the cover. If you're doing interior art, you can get away with, cheaper art, I would argue. But when you're doing the front cover, that cover, you got to nail it on the head. It has to be beautiful to look at, especially in today's culture. I think back then, during, just back then, during the 60s through the 90s, even the early 2000s, you can get away with very simple covers. And I think you still can today to a certain extent, depending on who you are as an author. But I think for the most part, your book cover matters so much. It's actually insane. So I needed to find the right artist. So I found two good artists, of course. My map artist, everything's been going well with him. We've been going over everything. And so far, it looks amazing. Like, I'm genuinely happy with how the art turned out. So let me show you some of the art. This is kind of what it looks like here. So this is the map of Korineth. You can see it's pretty big. In the top, you see the main continent, which is Valdoran. The bottom left is going to be Tarnvir, which is the wildlands. And to the right, that continent is called, I'm choking here, sorry, Zephyra. And the two bottom continents, they're touched on in this first book, but they're not really talked about. Again, they're just there, but this is pretty much the world. And this is just one part of the world. I hope you guys know that. This section of the world is called Orendel. There's all other sections, and this world's a lot bigger, but I'm just showing one part of the world. Now, if I zoom in here, you can see that this is Leora. Leora is where our main character Matthew is from. That's where the story starts off. Well, technically the story starts off with a prologue with Prince Cordas, which is in Highmoor. Highmoor Kingdom is over by the Fields of Light, right across the Gortash Mountains and the Black River. So you can see up there in the continent Valdoran. But after you get past the prologue, the book starts with chapter 1 with Matthew Peregrine, the elf from Leora. And it pretty much explores what's going on with him and how his siblings get kidnapped in chapter 2, and he chases after them. But his mission is to get to Druith, and you can see Druith is not too far. It's about a week to get to Druith, but then Matthew falls off the ship and gets taken to Eldoria Kingdom, which is in Valdoran. And Eldoria Kingdom is pretty much where the main gist of the story is going to be. But looking at this map, it's just absolutely stunning. I mean, you can see here is my map, and here is what my artist did. It's pretty incredible, pretty remarkable stuff here. I mean, he copied right off what I did, of course. I like drawing maps, it's really fun. I mean, I'm not that good at drawing maps, but it is fun to do it. And I didn't want to do something like there's a map thing called Incarnate online. You could do that, but I actually did try to do it on there, but the problem was my map was so big and advanced that actually the system was glitching out, so I couldn't actually use Incarnate. So if you're someone who works at Incarnate, try to fix that where you can make really massive maps. But I also thought it was just better to go with an artist because I was going all in. This is my dream story. This is my dream universe that I'm creating right now. And I wanted to just go all in and create a map that I'm going to love. And the thing is, I'm going to reuse this map throughout the rest of the series. So I may as well just pay for it now, right? And make a baller map. And I also actually plan on making a big picture frame of it so I can put it up on my wall. I could put it like right back there. But there's a lot going on here, and I'm working on the second map. Augustinus, that's his name. He does the maps for me. He's going to do some other maps in the future because I'm going to have a different map for each book in the series. I mean, I'll have the same map, Orendel, but as we move on in the series, obviously there will be smaller and smaller maps for different sections that we are in. For example, this book is going to have a second map. It's a smaller map, but it shows all of Khazadrin Kingdom and Eldoria Kingdom in that specific part of Valdoran. But there's a lot to look at here, and it's just, again, it's so beautiful. We were trying to go for like a Lord of the Rings style, but like more modern time. And I guess with the style, like I didn't want to just do black and white, Tolkien's map. I wanted to do like a map that feels like you're looking at like a video game map or just a cool dark epic fantasy map that it just feels good to look at. But we landed on this style and it just really worked. We were rocking with it. And I will be sharing a video of Augustinus doing the entire map. So if you guys love watching videos of artists draw, then stay tuned because on my YouTube channel, I'm going to have that so you guys can see him working on it and just copying my map and making it a reality. But Augustinus, he pretty much has probably a month left of doing the maps. I mean, these maps take a while to do, but also because he's working with other clients. So that's pretty much why it's taking so long. And that map I showed you is just a sketch, by the way. That's just a sketch. Like we have to do little details. We have to do the line editing. So there's a lot of things to do. And we also have to make sure all the wording is correct for all the different locations. So again, there's a lot more to do. It's going to take a bit, but that's pretty much what you're looking at for the map. Now, regarding the cover of the book, I originally sent a cover out to all of you, but again, that my cover artist who was doing it, we obviously switched out and there was just a falling out, so we weren't able to work on the cover, so we had to restart from scratch. So I'm not going to show the cover I had, just out of respect for the artist. I don't think that's cool, even though the art looked really cool. It's just, I think it's a little bit disrespectful to show his art when, we decided to scrap the project entirely. I mean, he can do with it what he wants, but yeah. But the new cover artist I have, his name is Pen Liu. He's amazing, very talented. I met him on ArtStation. But the cover for this book, I can't show you guys yet. I don't know if you can see in the reflection of my glasses. Maybe I'll show you a sneak peek. If you look in the reflection of my glasses, you can see it. I have it right here on my iPad, so I don't know if can you see it? You can see a little bit. I'm gonna turn it off now. But it's gorgeous. All I gotta say is, wow. Like, wow. I think you guys are gonna really like this cover. Like, if you love stories like Twilight Princess, Berserk, Malazan, I'm telling you, you're gonna love this cover. I mean, it took me a lot of time because doing the cover was hard because it's like, which scene do you pick from your book? Because the thing is, I didn't want to just do a basic, a sword as a cover, right? I think it's boring. And again, your cover is highly important, especially in today's culture. People do care about the cover. I mean, especially me as an author, I am judging books by their covers. Not that that means the book is bad. The writing could be S tier level. But if the cover is just a D tier or F tier, then no one's going to be interested in buying your books. You have to sell the book, right? And so this cover, I was trying to figure out like, okay, what would be the best cover? What would really grab people's attention? And I wanted to go for a different theme. One thing I really liked, let me show you guys. Okay. Okay, so one thing I really liked about some of the books I was reading, and specifically a few books, I always loved the American versions of the old Harry Potter books. Here they are. So you got Deathly Hallows, you got the Half-Blood Prince, and you also have Order of the Phoenix, right? And if you look at all these books, all three of these, it's mainly the last three I really liked. They all have a specific color theme, and I love that. Like this one is the blue Harry Potter book. This one's the green Harry Potter book with purple. And then you got this one, which is orange. And I just loved the color idea. And I wanted to have a specific color for my book. Like each book in the series for the War Eternal series has a specific color theme. And actually, fun fact, I mean, I'll just tell you the lineup. But the first book's going to be red, right? I mean, it's going to be red because the story is obviously called The Crimson Knight. So, I mean, this story, I mean, my series is a dark epic fantasy. That's my jam. But I want this book to really feel epic. And so I'm going for a theme with red. But I don't like, you know, I like the composition. I think this looks really cool. But this is really centered around Harry Potter, right? Harry is the main character. That's why you see the title. And that's why Harry's like, it's a focus shot on him, or this is a medium shot technically in film. They would call this a medium shot, but you know, with other books, it's, you know, you got another medium shot. Okay, never mind. We may have all medium shots. This one's more close up, right? It's not fully close up like traditional close up, but it's a close up medium shot, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But what I wanted to go for is I like that idea, but there's also, I have multiple POVs in the story. You know, I have Matthew, Princess Aurora, Sylvanas, Tor Morwen, and then we have a few other side characters like Ruthford or Wick. You know, we have those characters, and then we also show like Malbrani, one of the Othrakis, right? So I mean, there's different POVs for different situations, of course. I want to make sure I get that, especially like Prince Cordas. But I'm like, I need something. So we decided to go with the theme red and black. That's the vibe we're going for. But then composition-wise, I wanted to go for something like Stormlight Archives. I really like the composition of how this looks. And you can see, you know, you have this knight here, one of the Radiant, or I think it's one of the knights, Shard Bearers. And then you don't have anything on the back, but I believe there's one cover that actually works. Like Words of Radiance, this book looks really cool. It's not my favorite, you know, this isn't like my favorite book cover, but I do like the composition of it. You have Kaladin right here on the front cover, you know, it's showing that, you know, he's kind of like the main protagonist. I mean, even though Shallan is, I would argue, is the main protagonist of the story. But then you have Seth on the background, or on the back side of the cover. And I really like that idea. So what I was thinking about doing was, I'm going to just tell you guys, because I'm going to show you guys the cover in another video. I want to do a whole cover reveal because I think that'll be really exciting for y'all. But what I'm planning on doing is having Matthew as the main person on the front cover, of course, with the specific scene I'm going for. And then you're going to have Sylvanas, the Black Knight. Now, why not Princess Aurora? Well, I didn't want to dive into her as much. I wanted to show some other characters instead. And so I decided to just put Sylvanas on the back because I thought he would be a better choice. But that's pretty much the general premise. I mean, I didn't want to go for a cover like this. I mean, you can do a cover like this, but these are really cheap covers to do, actually. I mean, you're probably looking at like, what, a couple $100? I mean, the cover I did is, you know, a couple thousand actually. But it was completely worth it. You know, and this stuff is expensive to do, but like this cover, you know, I don't know what this story, I don't know what this is telling me. You know, it's not a book that grabs your attention. I haven't actually read the book yet. I got this as a birthday gift. This was on my bucket list to read, but I am looking forward to reading that. My sister got that for me actually. But I mean, there's a lot of books that are on my bucket list I'm trying to finish off. I just finished Resident Evil. Ooh, that was an interesting book. I read Resident Evil 1 by S.D. Perry. I believe that's the author. She wrote, I guess, like 5 or 6 of the books. Interesting. But I will be doing a cover reveal for this book. But that's pretty much the general idea. I'm going to show you the sketches, you know, my artist drawing the cover. I think you guys are going to really love that. So you're going to get 2 different videos, one of the map, one of the cover. I'll do also a long video for those who want, and we could talk more about it. But again, it's really difficult figuring out the theme of what you're trying to go for your cover. But once you do figure out the theme, oh my gosh, it's great. You know, especially the scene you want, because I wanted a specific scene. I needed a scene that captures your attention. And I want each book to have a specific scene that is highly important to that book. It doesn't spoil it, I guess it spoils a tiny bit. I think any cover can really, but, and there's some symbolism in it, but I wanted a cover that just looks epic. You look at that cover, and when you get to that scene in the book, you're just like, dang, so cool, right? And just a fun fact, so like I said, the first book's going to be read. For the next 2 books, because this kind of a 5-book series, the only reason I'll go past 5 books is if I literally cannot fit it in 5 books of the story of, a lot of the characters, because there's a lot of characters in my book. But the first book is red, that's the color theme. The second book is actually gonna be focused more around green. And then the third book is gonna be focused around purple. But that's still, the third book's still being worked on with that idea. Regarding the writing, what's going on? Well, I'm getting everything ready for ARC readers. Of course, ARC reading is gonna start at the end of summer. So I was planning on around mid-end of August to release those ARC copies, or first week of September, because the book is coming out in October. So fun fact, the book comes out in October. That's when the Crimson Knight for the War Eternal series, the first book, is coming out. And this took a while. I have to say, I'm really proud. I mean, after 2 years of writing, it's crazy. It's genuinely crazy to be done, and I'm excited to move on to the second book, because I've already started the second book. I'm doing all the outlining, and that's probably going to take me 2.5 years to write, if I'm being honest. Just because of how busy my life is, and also just because I'm a hyper perfectionist. In my first book, is it the best book in the world? No, I don't think my book is the best book in the world. I think it's a good book. I think I did a good job. I got the job done as an indie author, and I think it will give you what you're looking for. Again, and my book is not for everyone. I always like to clarify that. This book, it's a dark epic fantasy for adults because it has a lot of heavy adult themes. But it's very fast paced, right? I really push through, because one thing I preach this so often, but one thing I'm tired of is, books taking 2 to 3 stories just to get to the point. A lot of narratives take 3 books just to figure out who the antagonist is and what the plot is of the story. And I guess I'm just kind of tired of that. I wanted to take a different approach where I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to give it to you in the first book. I'm going to give you everything you ever dreamed of. I'm not going to take forever just to get to some cool action. No, I'm going to give you the action in this first book. So my book it's intense, it's relentless, it's very fast paced. You move very quickly. It hits a lot of those emotional beats. And it's not that I skip over certain emotions of the characters, because there are very dark things that happen, but I treat them with respect and I try to give them their time. But I don't want to drool all over it for the next 10 chapters, right? I want to keep the plot moving forward. But what happened with that character in the last chapter, how does that affect them in the chapters going forward? And that's kind of what I've been focusing on, and trying to make each chapter like a TV episode, where each chapter is important and it has a major role to play in the story. But again, currently I am just fixing up some editing, so I'm going through trying to catch repetition, repeated emotional beats. My book was 165,000 words, and I'm almost halfway through with the book right now, but I just cut it down from 165 to 160, because again, there were about 5K words that were just repetitive, repeating the same description but in a different way, or repeating the same thoughts the character has. The character's just repeating the same thing, he's overthinking. Because one thing I do is I'm a hyper overthinker, and so I actually write like that. I restate what has already been stated. So, but yes, that's pretty much everything that's going on, guys. This is my desk. This is where I've been working. I travel all over the place to work and write. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. I'm going to try to do more updates. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. It does help, get this out to other people. And if you want to keep up to date, if you're not a part of my newsletter and you found this video just randomly online or from my TikTok or Instagram or wherever you found it, sign up for my newsletter if you're interested in this story. You can get a free ARC copy before, September 2026. If you're interested in being an ARC reader, you'll get a free digital copy of the book, which is really cool. And so you can be one of the first people to read this story. But again, if you're under the age of 18, please do not read this book. Again, check with your parents. If your parents are okay with you reading it, then you can read it. But if you're under 18, you haven't checked with your parents, please check with your parents because, again, there's a lot of heavy adult themes that can be traumatizing for readers. So I just want people to be aware of that so you're not going into it blindsided. But yeah, I will be making a video showing you the cover. Again, I want to kind of drag that out. We're going to be revealing that as we get closer to summer. My artist and I were pretty much almost done. We finished the sketches for the cover. Now we're going to be transitioning over to doing final edits of the cover and then doing some interior art that is needed. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.